You're watching The Support I Didn't Receive, an 8-part series about my disability, diagnosis, and the support I wish I'd had along the way. I'm Era, and this is Chapter 1. Some stories change your life the day they happen. Mine changed it long before they had a name for it. This is The Support I Didn't Receive. The era before my disability started impacting my life was very naive. I mean, yeah, I was young, and yes, I had many lessons to learn in life, but I was naive to the point where my symptoms were just brushed aside and not really taken care of. And I can say that many young individuals treat their bodies this way. They can power through it, they can make it happen. And at that time, I could make things happen. I could ignore symptoms long enough to be able to make things happen. The young era before my disability started impacting my life in mega ways, traveled across the world and made friends with people of all sorts of kinds. I would put a backpack on and I would go to a new place to learn new things about myself, to learn new things about other people. I wanted to broaden my mind. I wanted to taste and experience and see life in all sorts of ways. And that led me down to waterpelling down waterfalls and learning Spanish and speaking it almost fluently in Costa Rica. I walked across Costa Rica in 25 days. I spent 30 days on whitewater on a raft and learned all sorts of ways of waterways and rapids and how things work. I had decided I was going to experience life to the fullest. And no matter what, nothing was getting good in my way in order for me to have the experiences that I wanted, including my symptoms, including the disability that was developing within my body. I have to say, like, I wasn't a normal young person, but that was simply because I pushed the boundary of my body and my mind and the experiences that I wanted. I made things happen that many young people couldn't even fathom of putting together because I had decided if I wanted it, I was going to get it. And because of this mindset, I was able to go to some amazing places in Spain and Central America. I spent long periods of time out in the wilderness with no electricity, phone, running water, just being by myself or one or two other people, experiencing it alone. I learned so much and I experienced so much. My dreams were changing, and with every experience I have and every lesson I learned about who I was, it changed my dream, my future of where I was. Was I thinking about the house I was going to have in 30 years, the amount of children? No, I didn't think of those things. No, I didn't want children at the time. I didn't want a partner. I wanted to be alone. I wanted to experience life to the fullest through the vision and lens of Era, an era only. And it was pretty awesome. And I am proud of the things that I accomplished during that time as a young Era. But even during that time of exploration and discovery for myself as a person with my body and my self-image and my mind, my spiritual, emotional beings, I was still experiencing debilitating symptoms. I was experiencing pain. I was experiencing weakness. I was experiencing episodes of losing my hearing, of losing my ability to be strong in all ways. At the time, I kind of just brushed it aside and waited however long it took for my body to rest to get back to capacity as I thought I needed to be, or I pushed through and I just said, oh, I'm just tired, or oh, I just have a sinus infection, or I just can't hear well because blah, 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 blah. At the time, my symptoms were not noticed enough. They were not regulated or even taken account of. It wasn't even a part of my life at that time. I experienced a lot of stomach distress and weakness and heat, and it even disrupted jobs. I had to leave trail crew jobs, working out in the deserts of Northern California. I had to adjust and adapt. And what I thought was me going out and just adventuring at some points and being alone was really me regaining sensory inputs from other people and society. I thought that I just hated society, but really the sensory input of and stress on my brain, of the constantness of it and the inputs and the constantness from that, um, was also too much. And so I just thought it was me as a person instead of me as my body, and me not adapting or making exceptions for what was real for me and the symptoms that were real for me. And I assumed that these symptoms were normal. And it was mostly because growing up as a kid, we had a different reality where health was treated just in a different way than most people. And I had noticed as a child my hearing going in and out. We knew my eyes were really, really terrible. And most of these things, because it was so up and down and back and forth, and there were so many children, there was 5 of us total for my parents to manage, and all of the things that come with being an adult and a parent, it wasn't really given the time and attention that it needed. And so as I'm coming into adulthood as a young era, I didn't put as much weight behind my physical symptoms because they were honestly dismissed most of my childhood. And so young era didn't put any weight or value into the symptoms that were evolving. And everyone around me, including doctors I would go to sometimes when I was just vomiting and throwing up, over and over because of heat exposure, or just being so exerted to the point where I just couldn't stop throwing up. And this happened multiple times, and doctors just being like, oh, well, you're drinking too much, or you need to drink more water. Oh, this is just anxiety. And so I was not only being dismissed medically, I was being dismissed by the others around me who were young and had vivacious bodies. I was surrounded by people who were doing amazing, incredible things with their body. And physically extreme sports, climbing mountains, jumping off things, windsurfing, rock climbing, bouldering. I mean, people were pushing their bodies to the limits through pain and broken bones and ruptured tendons and migraines and headaches and being hungover. So I just assumed I was like everybody else and would push through past my limits a lot of times. I always had different reactions, though, to most people. I didn't recover like other people. And that's when I started to realize that maybe this is different. The era that I was as a young adult was vivacious and wanted so much of life that their disability developing did not get in the way. And let me tell you something. Even if you don't mentally know that you are having a developing disability, your body knows. And your body's going to continue to tell you no matter what your mind says. And the era then, with the disability that they were developing and the mental capacity of building and still doing amazing things through this developing disability, gave me some amazing skill sets. Mental ability to push past pain, to be able to see solutions I have never, other people can't see. My persistence, my ability to keep on even when it looks like there is nothing that is going to come together and there is no solution, came from the young era that climbed mountains, that summited mountain after mountain, bouldered, who rock climbed in amazing places, who windsurfed in amazing places, who traveled across the world alone as a young woman into some amazing epic places, who walked across Costa Rica in 25 days as a 19-year-old. That era still did all those things with a developing disability, and they didn't believe it, and neither did the people around them. And because of that, I developed the mental capacity, the emotional capacity, and the spiritual capacity that I have today. My disability was still there, and it was still developing as a young person, and I still did amazing things. Should I? To be told in another story. But it happened, and it shaped me into the dynamic, capable, disabled person that I am today. So I'm telling these stories. I'm telling these stories about young era, about childhood era, about the era now, because these stories matter. They matter to me. They matter to my children who will see these one day. They matter to other disabled young individuals who are out in this world, and other people aren't believing you and they don't see the developing disability within your body. These stories matter because stories matter, especially for people who have complicated and intense lives. And I have. And I'm not saying that I'm some sort of special being. I'm saying that my stories matter in this world and they deserve to be heard. And I hope that my children who will one day see these videos and their children's children who could potentially see them, and other young people and other people my age can hear my stories about my developing disability and how my debilitating disability now. As a young woman, I am still young, and as a mother, and I hope that they can see that a life is still possible and we can still have fullness and be vivacious and we can persevere. And that's why I'm talking about the support I didn't receive. I think it's so important to provide these support systems for ourselves and for others because we deserve it. These stories are one piece of the support I didn't receive. Come back next week for chapter 2 when I dive even deeper into the supports I didn't receive. See you then. Bye.